Hi folks, hope you're okay today. It's good to see you. We're looking at the historical reliability of the Old Testament. I just brought up to your attention about the Dead Sea Scrolls, that they're significant, and now we're going to understand why they're significant. What are the Dead Sea Scrolls? The scrolls are made up of some 40,000 inscribed fragments. From these fragments, more than 500 books have been reconstructed. Many extra biblical books and fragments were discovered that shed light on the 2nd century BC to 1st century AD religious community of the Qumran on the shores of the Dead Sea. Such writings as the Zodikite documents, a rule of the community, and the Manual of Discipline help us to understand the purpose of daily Qumran life. In the various caves are some very helpful commentaries on the scriptures, but the most important document is of the Dead Sea Scrolls are copies of the Old Testament text dating from more than a century before the birth of Christ. How were these Dead Scrolls found? Ralph Earl gave a vivid, concise answer to how the scrolls were found by sharing an account showing God's providential care. The story of this discovery is one of the most fascinating tales of modern times. In February of March of 1947, a Bedouin shepherd boy named Mohammed was searching for a lost goat. He tossed a stone into a hole in a cliff on the west side of the Dead Sea, about 8 miles south of Jericho. To his surprise, he heard the sound of shattering pottery. Investigating, he discovered an amazing sight. On the floor of the cave were several large jars containing leather scrolls wrapped in linen cloth. Because the jars were carefully sealed, the scrolls have been preserved in excellent condition for nearly 1,900 years. They were evidently placed there in AD 68. 5 of the scrolls found in the Dead Sea Cave, as it is now called, were bought by the Archbishop of Syrian Orthodox Monastery at Jerusalem. Meanwhile, 3 other scrolls were purchased by Professor Suckenik of the Hebrew University there. When the scrolls were first discovered, no publicity was given to them. In November of 1947, 2 days after Professor Suckenik purchased 3 scrolls and 2 jars from the cave, he wrote in his diary, "It may be that this is one of the greatest finds ever made in Palestine, a find we never so much as hoped for, but these significant words were not published at the time." Fortunately, in February of 1948, the Archbishop, who could not read Hebrew, phoned the American School of Oriental Research in Jerusalem and told about the scrolls. By good providence, the acting director of the school at the moment was a young scholar named John Trevor. He was also an excellent amateur photographer. With arduous, dedicated labour, he photographed each volume of the great Isaiah scroll, which is 24 feet long and 10 inches high. He developed the plates himself and sent a few prints by airmail to F.W. Albright of Johns Hopkins University, who was widely recognized as the Dean of American Biblical Archaeologists. By return airmail, Albright wrote, "My heartiest congratulations on the greatest manuscript discovery of modern times. What an absolutely incredible find, and there can happily not be the slightest doubt in the world about the genuineness of the manuscript." He dated it about 100 BC. But the Dead Sea Scrolls, and we're going to get into the value of it and what do the Dead Sea Scrolls contain, actually proved beyond doubt that the Old Testament has been historically preserved, and what we have in the Old Testament is what was written. And the Dead Sea Scrolls prove that beyond a doubt, and we're going to get into that in more detail.